Your camera is also off. The chat box is also off. And if you can't see our video, you have to go through your settings, and there's an option right at the bottom, second bottom option, where you have to click so that you can see us. And then just be aware that at the end of the session, we're going to have the question and answer parts. Okay. So I just want to quickly go back. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Sophie. Welcome again to the broadcast, which is titled Finding Motivation for Second Semester in Lessons. So basically, the purpose of the broadcast is to motivate and inspire you as you navigate your academic journey at UNISA, especially as a first-year student. My guests, which are joining me today, is Ms. Nolwazi Nomseu. We also have Ms. Khanyisa Ngqinya, and we have Mr. George Manyike. We also have Mr. Simlindile Ndacha, and our sign language interpreter is Ms. Sophie Mawaso. And at the background, working tirelessly, is Mr. David Hapstadt. Thank you so much, colleagues, for joining me to unpack this topic today. I'm just going to quickly ask everyone to maybe provide a brief background about themselves. I'm going to start with you, Ms. Khanyisa. Maybe if you could quickly just give a big background so that students know you. You can share whatever you like to share about yourself. You can go ahead. Ms. Khanyisa, you can start.
Hi, everyone. My name is Khanyisa Sasele Kelomina. I live in Tata in the Eastern Cape. I'm a UNISA alumni. I've got a higher certificate in archives and records management. I also have a bachelor's, a degree in BA, Health and Social Services, specialized in psychological counseling. I am also having the honors in psychology. I am currently working as a TCGP at UNISA in Tata. I started by volunteering as a student mentor, which assisted me very much in my career journey. It made a valid point of me being a professional, volunteering as a student mentor. I joined UNISA in 2014, if I can just say that, Ms. Tokozo,
Yes.
When I started doing my higher certificate. It took me a year. I didn't choose UNISA because I chose UNISA. I chose it because I was not able to do a bachelor's degree, but I wanted to do a bachelor's degree. So I chose UNISA because I wanted to do a bachelor's degree. I started off with higher certificate, and then I did my degree. Also, I just finished my honors recently, so I'm supposed to graduate on the 28th of July.
Oh, well done.
Thank you very much. And also, if I may add a little bit, working with Dr. Stranga, a student counselor at Mtata, has assisted me a lot with my background. I live in a township. Like, we don't have much network, we don't have gadgets, so that's my background.
Okay, I think, thank you so much for sharing your background. It will be, just to, maybe you can share a little bit later for our students to get a context of who you are. If I can just go on to you, Mr. Simlindile, because you're right next to Ms. Khanyisa. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you for this platform for today. My name is Simlindile Ndacha. I'm also from Eastern Cape as well. I have started my journey with UNISA in 2011 around June. And then I started from national diploma up to master's degree. I only finished my master's degree last year. I have obtained my master's degree on the 3rd of this month.
Wow, nice. Well done. Welcome. And you, George, our last panelist. You, George. You can introduce yourself.
Good morning, colleagues and students watching from all corners of the world, wherever you are. I'm George Panyika. I'm an LLB graduate with UNISA. I graduated last year with my Bachelor of Laws, and I'm currently enrolled for my Master of Laws in Corporate Law. Where I am based, I live in Gqeberha, previously known as Port Elizabeth. And I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and yeah, I would say that is my introduction for now.
Okay, thank you, George.
Later. Thank you.
Thank you, George. And lastly, Ms. Nolazi, maybe you can briefly introduce yourself.
Thank you, Ms. Ntokozo. My name is Nolwazi Somtseu. I'm a student counselor. I'm based in the East London office of the Eastern Cape region. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. And I've already introduced Miss Sophie, who's our sign language interpreter. Okay, thank you so much, colleagues, for introducing yourselves. And thank you, students, for joining us. Maybe we can just dive into it and unpack or maybe talk about how each of you colleagues have actually experienced your journey at UNISA. How were you able to navigate your first year and into completing your studies? Because as Simlindile and George has highlighted that they're doing their masters, maybe in your first year, how were you able to navigate your studies? Maybe you can just share. If I can start with you, Kanyisa, maybe just share briefly, how were you able to navigate your academic journey and go through all your degrees at UNISA? Maybe just share that part for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ozo. Firstly, when I applied at UNISA, as I've said that I didn't choose UNISA actually.
Okay.
I wanted to do a bachelor's degree, but the problem is I was endorsed for a diploma. So I had to do a higher certificate before doing my degree.
Okay.
So when I chose UNISA, it was not that difficult or complicated for me. I was very keen in studying. Like I was always finding information. Like I would always go to people and ask information. How do you do your ask? Because with UNISA, you're only given your assignments. You are the one who's going to push yourself. I would go to people, ask people what's happening. How can I do this? And then I didn't find any problem with my first years.
Okay.
Until I was doing my second year, of which now I was doing my degree now. And when I was doing my degree, it was a problem because I encountered low self-esteem in my qualification. So that was a problem for me. That was my first problem. So
Sorry, what do you mean by that? How was it a problem?
It was a problem because it didn't give me a motivation to study.
Oh, I see. Okay.
It didn't give me a motivation to study. Either way, I didn't know which qualification I must do. I was just doing it. Up until I got used to different types of support system with UNISA, like at the city office, which assisted me in my career planning and everything. So that assisted me. But the problem that I encountered, it was during COVID-19. I had no space of studying. I had no, it was like the libraries were closed. So that was a little bit of a problem for me. And also the fact that I didn't have e-gadgets.
Okay.
Laptop and everything. But how did I survive those things? I had to visit the campus every day to go to e-labs. And also I had to visit different support systems of UNISA. And also I had to go to student counselor, which is Dr. China, the psychologist, which assisted me with my career development, like career understanding, like what to do, how am I supposed to be prepared. So it was that for me. Those were the challenge for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Maybe we can unpack that later. So for you, Simlindile, how was your academic journey at UNISA? How did you navigate your studies? Maybe it was different from Ukanyisa. How was yours?
Yeah, my journey was a little bit difficult for me because
Okay.
first of all, I didn't understand what is the meaning of correspondence. So everything was on my shoulder, and I was unaware of other situations that, for instance, I won't have a lecture in front of me. I won't have anyone to push me to say like, Simindile, wake up, study, Simindile, submit assignment online. And at the same time, I was not equipped of using computers since I come from poor backgrounds. We don't have usually computers around. I was struggling to use those things. And at the same time, I have to travel a long distance for me to visit the campus.
Yeah.
And remember, that time I was not working. I was struggling a lot, and the environment for me was totally confusing. So I have to I have to meet up with other students so that they can have that impact. They can influence me. I have to be like comfortable to conduct my lecture at the same time. All those things, I was only aware of those things after I failed one module.
Mm.
So I needed someone to guide me. Then I went there, then they guide me well. Then I managed to improve through other events. Like I was also attending some workshop, reading skills for workshop to improve my skills on reading, to be able to stand on my own, not relying on the institution as well.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So if I can just summarize, I'm picking up that Kanyisa and Simlindile, they are saying that it's important to have career counseling. It's something that you struggled with. Like how Kanyisa was saying, she did not choose UNISA at first, but then she was able to overcome and she was able to get career guidance. And then I'm also picking up that you need to have or to be equipped to study at UNISA, meaning that distance learning, it's not something that we should take for granted, so to say, but it's something that it should also come from you. You have to equip yourself and be skilled in that way. And also, just maybe speaking on that point, I need to stress that as the student retention unit, we have a MOOC, which is a massive online course that assists students, especially at first year, where you are able to navigate and see whether you are ready for a distance learning. We have a MOOC where you take different modules, and it provides you with the background of navigating with online learning at UNISA. So what I'm picking up is that you need to understand your environment and equip yourself with distance learning. Also, just to summarize, I'm picking up that failing is part of the journey. Not that I'm encouraging that you must fail, but you must be able to pick yourself up. That even though you might have a hurdle, you are able to rise above that. That's what I'm picking up from Slingin and Kanyisa. And maybe George, I cannot see you, and you are also muted. Maybe you can share your academic journey on how maybe you able to navigate your first year at UNISA.
All right. Thank you for the platform again. I would say I was just smiling when some colleagues started speaking about how it seems that a lot of our journeys at UNISA are in a way similar, especially the struggles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are quite similar. So I hope by this broadcast we can be able to give some impetus or guidelines or some kind of motivation as well to other students and realize that it's achievable so that they don't flounder and give up. To describe my own journey, my journey with UNISA started in 2011. It's quite a long time ago. And like along the way, there were challenges indeed, trying to, because I was studying and working at the same time, working full time.
Yeah.
So it was a huge challenge. And what also in a way made it worse was, working with employers who were not very accommodating of an employee who is studying, not being able to get things like study leave or sometimes you'd get only one day and and you've got 5 exams you're writing and
Yeah.
get one day off to write. So there were days, modules that, you'd fail. And like you say, you don't encourage students to fail, but it's part of the journey. You dust yourself up, you get up and you keep going. And I would say in my own journey, one of the main challenges, of course, that I was facing when I was studying was being able to pay for the studies, because I didn't have a bursary and I didn't qualify for most of the bursaries.
Yeah.
And that also placed a huge strain on my finances. So I had to find a way to balance my budget, to see what to prioritize. Should I go out this weekend, or must I focus that money on getting another text? Should I do this? So you tend to come up with a plan that works for you, and my plan, I would say it worked, because I did finish my degree and I graduated.
Yes.
So yeah, that is one of the main challenges that I came across. And in terms of maybe also sharing maybe strategies to other students on how to be successful, especially when you're studying with UNISA. One of the key components of being a successful student at UNISA, and it's something that I only picked up towards the end, is time management. Time management is very crucial. It is very, very, very important for you to assign your 24-hour day properly and know how many hours am I putting aside to study? How many hours am I putting aside to focus on my degree or my diploma or my certificate? And stick to it. And of course, if you can't stick to it and change it for the right reasons. And when I say change it for the right reasons, know what to prioritize in life. Is your studies a priority? If it is, then the system around you must be aware of that. And that means your family. It can be your brothers, your husband, your wife, kids, anybody. They must know that when George is studying, he's studying now. You can't be disturbing him. This is his time to study. And your times to study must be so focused that, the unit around you must respect that time enough to give you time to study. And of course, I've come across students, of course, who have the challenge of saying, no, but I'm staying with my mom and my 2 sisters. We're in a one-room shack. So how do I remove myself from that environment? Because everybody is there. And it was quite prevalent, especially during the COVID environment of trying to study from home. And you find that there is also can be other options, like make use of public libraries. They are there. If there is something close to you, make use of it. Go to a library, even if it's 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day. You find that cumulatively over time, this time that you focus on your studies will reflect on how you do well in your modules. And this is quite key. This is quite key. So I would say that is my advice to first year students on what strategies they can use to be successful.
Okay.
Time management.
Okay. Thank you so much, George. We were going to unpack that later, but it's still fine. It's still fine. Thank you for sharing. If I can just go to the chat quickly, we're still going to come back to the other maybe questions to unpack. Some people are asking, can we get the recording of the meeting? Yes, you will get the recording when I post it on YouTube and in our page, Student Retention Unit. We're going to post it there, and in your leisure, and maybe in your leisure time, and when you have time, you can actually get this recording. And someone is asking that it's muted. No, we're not muted. Maybe you can just go out and rejoin. Then you'll be able to hear us. I don't know how you're going to hear us now because we sort of muted. So maybe you can just rejoin or read the chat. And, oh, okay, they're saying they did get help. So yeah, on that part. Oh, maybe if I can just go back to Simlindi. I think everyone has touched on bits and pieces of their academic journey, maybe highlighting their challenges and also how they've encountered their academic journey at UNISA and how they were able to overcome. But maybe if I could just ask you colleagues, Simlindi and Kanyisa, to maybe share on how were you able to overcome some of the challenges that were on your way in your academic journey. Maybe you can go first, Kanisa, to share with us maybe how were you able to overcome. I think George has touched a little bit on how you are able to actually navigate yourself, whatever challenges that come your way as you are doing your studies. Maybe Kanisa, you can maybe touch on how were you able to overcome.
Okay, thank you very much. I think Josh has touched the topic on time management. You need to manage your time effectively.
Yes.
Because if you don't manage your time could be wasted, and you could keep on procrastinating and saying that, no, I'll study at the time. No, let me just stop. So you need to manage your time. You need to be self-disciplined.
Okay.
Because one thing about UNISA, nobody's going to go after you. Nobody's going to tell you what to do. So you need to be self-disciplined. And one thing that has assisted me was joining a student mentor program. I can just compare my results with, while I was doing my degree, it was 68% overall average. And when I joined the program, I got 72% on my honors.
Wow.
Joining the student mentor has made it very easy for me, because there we are taught on how to study effectively. So you might as well not join the student mentor program as a student, but you need to attend to workshops of the city. Even workshop like UNISA workshop, you need to attend those workshops, because they assist in the journey of studying. You also have to know your career. Like at times when you're starting, you need to relate on things that you know, because when you're choosing a career, you're choosing a career because you know something. For an example, myself, I've chosen psychology, so I can relate on things that are happening in my society. When I go and write exams, I could relate and answer using the knowledge that I have. Also know the type of learner you are. At times, you might be a learner who can study alone. It's fine. You just have to know it. You need to do introspection. You need to be organized. One thing I know about UNISA, you need to stay organized, because if you are studying at home and you are sleeping, or lazy, it won't work for you. You need to be alive. As Josh has said, that you need to visit library. Library assists very much. Like I'm currently using it for studying some of my things. Library assists you a lot, and you need to have a timetable whereby you are going to write that I will do this and that and that and that, and you need to be flexible with your timetable. It doesn't have to be very rigid, because it's going to frustrate you.
Yeah.
If you're finding any difficulties, like where you can see that there's something that is bothering you, you need to visit the student counselors. They assist very much. Like as I've said, I like spotting on that Dr. Chang has assisted me a lot, more especially with his self-confidence and the confidence in my career. So those are the things that I do for myself.
Thank you, Kanisa. I think what I'm picking up in that nice bowl of time management, in that nice advice of finding assistance, you must have career development, is that maybe the foundation is that it has to come from you. We are not disregarding all the other impacts that might be around your environment. Could be, maybe where your family time, or maybe you do not have access to whatever facility that you have, but you have to have motivation within, so that it reflects on the choices that you make. Making a timetable, having time management, being self-disciplined, finding a mentor, all those things, not to say that they take time, but you have to find yourself within all those structures, so that you are able to navigate your academic journey. We're not saying that it's going to be smooth sailing, but we're saying you have to find yourself, find a foundation whereby you are able to navigate on whatever environment that you encounter. And for you, Simlindile, maybe you can share your part on how were you able to overcome.
Since I had a problem of time management, because I had a problem of balancing my activities, and at the same time, I was not motivated enough. I had to visit some workshop so that I can learn to manage my time more effective. And I had to meet some senior students so that I can share their experience and how did they manage to overcome that challenges. At the same time, I had to travel from Eastern Cape to Florid campus just to meet up with my lecture so that I can have face-to-face conversation with my lectures so that I can have a better way of resolving my challenges because I was failing manage and I did not have I was not motivated enough due to some due to the environment that I'm coming from. That's the only way I have.
Okay. Thank you so much, Simlindile. I don't know if I missed the last part, but thank you so much, Simlindile. And for you, George?
Thank you again. On my part, I think it had a lot to do also with managing my circle. And when I say managing my circle, I mean people around me. And how this translated to me overcoming my obstacles and passing and getting better grades is that you find that sometimes I'm trying to focus on my studies. I'm doing my Bachelor of Laws, but a lot of the time that I'm spending with friends. We go drinking, friends, we want to go and watch the next Orlando Pirates match. We're discussing Liverpool and Manchester. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's socializing. But now if the greater part of my time is taken by those social activities, there's lesser time for me to focus on what I want to achieve.
Exactly.
So I changed my direction there to try and grow my circle towards similar people, similar minds, fellow students, reaching out to other students through Telegram. And I actually made some very good friends and colleagues to this day we are now benefiting from each other's, interactions. And, we formed other smaller study groups where we could meet face to face at the library. We have discussions, debates, and also like something mentioned earlier by Kainsa about how also trying to focus on what it is that is influenced by what you are studying. I was studying law. So, I would take time out even to when I've got time to go just sit at the courts and watch, cases being handled, how the magistrate handle the cases, how the lawyers handle the cases, and also even just normal interaction with staff within that environment so that your mindset and your psyche is already focused on what it is that you want to do, where you're seeing yourself going to and what you want to achieve. So I found that to be quite beneficial as well.
Okay. I like that. I like that. What Kanyisa said and what you're saying, George, is that basically what I'm picking up is that you have to surround yourself with something that is in line or finding practicality with reference to your career. Is that what you're saying? Yes, I like that. Yes. I think that is sound advice. And also, I just want to say that you said you also had friends and you were also in platforms where you are able to discuss your studies and form study groups, something like that. I also like that because then it assists you to communicate with your friends and also to find assistance with your studies. But also, I like to say, students, that you must be vigilant when you join any WhatsApp group or Telegram or any social media group for your own protection. Just be vigilant that well, there are so many issues we can unpack on that, like hacking and protecting your information. But you just have to be vigilant that whatever group, even meeting people face to face, I just want to warn you that you need to be vigilant. You need to be very careful because it might not turn out as rosy and nice, just like how George has also made friends in that part. It could also turn the other way. So just be careful in that way. But I just want to say that what I'm picking up is that your environment, you should be able to navigate yourself, your social aspects of life with your academic aspect. So in other words, we must be able to find a balance, because if you don't, then it might lead to disaster, which is failing, and we don't want that. And we know that education is very expensive. So you need to be able to focus yourself, finding that foundation to say that, you know, this is what I want to achieve by the end. Maybe just to break it down, start small. This is what I want to achieve by the end of the day with the reference to my studies. This is what I want to achieve by the end of the month. And then you go to a semester, and this is what I want to achieve by the end of the year, which is what's passing my first year. And then from there going forward, this is what I want to achieve finishing my second year, my degree or my diploma, my certificate. And this is what I want to achieve, to be like Kanyisa, to be like George, and to be like Silindile. Go until postgraduate level, which is to get my master's and my PhD. And it is possible. We have people who have done it. Here's George, here's Silindile, and we also have Kanyisa. So I think that is very important. Maybe just to wrap up, because I see that our time is limited, and also we have touched a bit on some of the aspects, which is to look at how were you able to navigate your academic journey here at UNISA, and how also you've highlighted, colleagues, your challenges and how you were able to overcome. And maybe the last part, I could just ask each of you to say that maybe share briefly some of the strategies that you used to be successful. And this is not to disregard or whatever experience that each and every person goes through, but to say that, you know, in life, even if it's not academia, in life you will experience hurdles or you will experience challenges, but just try to rise above them. So basically, I would just ask each and every one of you to just maybe look at the strategies, share your strategies on how were you able to be a successful, pass your first year first of all, and then finish your degree and do your postgraduate. Maybe I can start with you, Kanyisa. Maybe share a few of your strategies, of which you've touched on earlier. That you were able to get a mentor, you were able to focus yourself. And what's even more inspiring is the fact that you were able to track yourself to say, okay, in my first year or second year, this is the percentage that I got on average. But then when I got a mentor, when I started attending workshops, you know, it moved to above 70, which is very inspiring. And there might be someone who is in this broadcast now to say, you know, I'm experiencing the same challenges, but here's Kanyisa was an example to say she was able to motivate herself. She was able to look at these avenues or structures that assisted her to move from 68. Or maybe not, it's not even you moving from 68, you're moving from 40% to say you want to move to 50% to pass, basically. And then from there, you can move to 60%, 70%, and even get a distinction. So maybe share some of your strategies on how were you able to succeed. I think you are muted. Oh, okay, we can hear you now.
Already, but I could just firstly say it goes with an attitude.
Okay.
You need to stay positive, because that's the basic of it all.
Okay.
You need to have it. You also have to have mentors, as I've said. Okay. And also, sometimes you might not know what is going on, or you might not understand why are you failing at times. But you need to visit the support services, like you need to have group mates to study with, because you can do that even on Facebook by Googling a particular module or UNISA at large. You are going to get a support. You also can visit the student counselors, UNISA student counselors. They assist very much, because, as I've said, for my issue was with having a low self-esteem with my career, and I couldn't go further if I had such. So when I visited Dr. Chandler, that assisted me very much. I just want to emphasize that.
Okay.
Assisted me a lot. Time management,
Okay. I think maybe the network is failing us with reference to
that. If it's, guys, don't waste time dreaming about it, just work on it. It's going to happen. It's happening. It just happened. We are coming from a very poor background. So we are coming from a very poor background. Also, we don't have enough gadgets to work with, but we stay motivated. Like we have a positive attitude. That's all I can say.
Okay, thank you so much, Simlindile. And here's someone on the chat saying that they tend to procrastinate. Maybe we're going to touch on that, on how you can overcome. And then there's someone else who is talking about studying is, here's Spiso saying that studying is a big challenge, especially at my age where you have so much on your plate. Thank God I managed to pass my 2 modules. Well done, Spiso. And he feels that the journey has started, and he has 24 credits in his pockets. Well done, thank you. Well done. Keep it up. And then we have Tabeleng who's saying there's load shedding. I'm so sorry. It's all over the country. And I don't know whether we're going to overcome it or not. But thank God that is not UNISA problem. Maybe if I can just say that you can always go back. We're going to post it on our YouTube channel as a student retention unit. And so what else is Tabeleng saying? Recording will be shared. Yes, the recording will be shared. And then, yeah, okay. Maybe Joe, Simlindile, you can lastly touch on the strategies that you suggest before we even, maybe you can touch on some of the strategies on how that students can adopt or implement in order to pass their academic journey at UNISA.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ross. For you to pass as a university student, you have to be disciplined.
Okay.
You have to be motivated. Stay connected with other students, even if they are from other varsities. That motive can drive you to improve because you are trying to socialize at the same time. But this time you are socializing with the people that understand the use of education and not just socializing for the sake of socializing. At the same time, you are trying to motivate yourself. You are trying to compare yourself if you are doing enough or are not doing enough. That's all I can say.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. You must be motivated. Be motivated. And for you, George, last remarks on your side?
Yeah, I think on my side, last remarks maybe to emphasize on what a colleague there said. I think his name is Fiso, about the challenges of studying and families and working. You'll pull through, Fiso. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Just stay focused. Those are the challenges that come with studying at UNISA, but you'll come through. But also, I advise students to always make use of student services. They are the DCCD. It is quite helpful in terms of assisting you to navigate the challenges that come through with studying at UNISA. There are times when you feel alone, like, hey, this thing is not working out.
Yeah.
So reach out to student services. They are quite helpful. There are professionals there who can assist you, who you can speak to. And I think there was Ntabiseng or
Tabeleng. I think it's
Tabeleng, right? We spoke about issues with procrastination. You know, you will get, and I can guarantee you will get assistance on how you can find yourself a way out of that and be able to focus on your studies. And even all students, when you go to the My UNISA website and you go to the student services tab there is a lot, and I mean a lot of information that you'll find very useful on how to do even issues like maybe how do you plan. When you spoke of time management, someone might be shocked, and so what exactly is it? They might not know. You know, go there. There's links you can go to that will show you how to do it, how to plan, how to design, even come up with a simple study timetable for yourself. You know. And also other ways of being able to make use of the social circles that my other brother was speaking of there, you know, socialize with other students from other universities, from within your faculties, and maybe you are also studying, you know, share information and ideas. you find that at the end of the day, you will succeed, yeah. And you will look back and say, hey, it's me who did this, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, we could also
Yeah.
invite you here and share your journey.
Yeah,
You
you'll be
know.
here one day and you'll be telling us your journey as well.
Yeah,
All
exactly,
right.
to motivate other students, because it is possible. I agree with you, George. I think it is Hiba or Rita. Rita was talking about procrastination. So here's one advice, Rita, what George was talking about, that you need to find support structures, but maybe if you could just go on. What I'm picking up, it's a lot of advice, especially with strategies. My colleagues have spoken about attitude. You need to change your attitude, or your attitude has to be positive, so as you navigate your studies, because you need that in order to as your strength, and to say, this is what I want to achieve. As I've highlighted earlier, you have to start small and say, within this hour, this is how much I want to study, or how I'll focus my studies. We are not suggesting that it's easy, your environment is easy, no. But the whole point is to motivate you to say, as a student, as UNISA we care, and as student retention unit, we're trying to assist you to navigate your academic journey, to say, we know that it's not easy, we know that it can be lonely, but there are structures that UNISA is providing for you to be able to navigate your journey. Not necessarily like we're saying that it's going to be smooth, but there is a way to overcome, and there is a way for your studies to say, I'm passing my first year, I'm passing my degree, things like that. So you also have to find a mentor. You also have to find support structures, like how George was saying, student services that are providing structures on how you navigate your online learning or distant learning. And then you have to be motivated. You have to, attend workshops, student counseling. It's very important that when you package your life, in order to navigate your study journey, that the foundation, it has to come from you in motivation. But maybe thank you so much, colleague, for sharing your experience and strategies. I just want to read some of the comments. Someone is saying, Sam, I think it's Sam V, is saying, thank you, George, for the excellent advice. And they're also studying LLB, and they find it challenging to stay motivated as the volumes of work is sometimes overwhelming, as I have a household to run as well. Yes, yeah, it's very tricky, because most of our students, or some of our students, are working and studying, but you have to find a way to say, like George was saying earlier, that your family, your surrounding environment has to know that, I'm studying now. You need to have time management. We're not saying it's easy, but we're trying to remind you, as student retention and my guests here, is that it's possible to whatever challenge or whatever environment you come from, you will be able to pass all your modules. And someone is also saying they've passed all their modules. I just want to say it's whom Duduzi, and they're also saying they're a parent, and also a youth seeking for employment. Yes, you are a parent, you are working, you're running a household like Simbi. And Mduduzi, you're a parent, and Modumelo is talking about how very tough and how they were not able to submit their due to the system. Yes, we are aware of that, Modumelo, and that is also some of the challenges that you can encounter. And someone is saying, is Fistus, saying thank you for the session. Because they are saying that it can get demoralizing. And then also someone is talking about, okay, they say they have a psychological disability, and then they're saying, thank you, UNISA, I've passed with 4 modules, well done. And then they're doing their 5th module. And then what else they're saying, and then they still move forward to a challenge themselves, and they can achieve a dream in education. And then someone else is also saying, thank you for this information. This is Yolanda. And who did I read before is Miller. Oh, Miller. Okay. And then also, okay, maybe from now, okay, maybe I will also go back to the chat later. But maybe because of time, we could hand over to Ms. Nolwazi. Thank you so much, colleagues, for sharing your study journey at UNISA. And we do hope that with our guests, our students today, that you find some motivation on how to navigate your academic journey. And we are not suggesting at all that we're coming from the same environment or have the same background, but we are simply saying that that's one small aspect of whatever challenge or whatever strength that you can pick up and move on, or find a strength in order to pass your modules. We are saying as student retention, we are trying to make you motivated, because it can be lonely. Your academic journey can be lonely. But with that being said, maybe I can just hand over to Ms. Nolwazi to maybe unpack, or she has a presentation. Maybe Ms. Nolwazi, you can take over. Thank you. I think you are muted, Ms. Nolwazi.
Okay, thank you. Thanks so much, Ms. Ntokozo, colleagues and students. I'm just going to open up the presentation. I feel already that a lot of what I was going to say has already been touched.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes my role a lot easier.
Yes.
For this morning. I'm just going to touch on a few things I feel that are really quite critical. Remember, we are in a new environment. You are coming in with multiple roles. Yes. I have already heard some students are working and studying. You also have other roles in your family as well. So studying, it is a new role that you are taking up. But it is also important to understand you are not coming in empty. You are coming in with your strengths. Let's say, for an example, you are someone who's good in terms of communicating with others. So you transfer that strength of being a communicator, you transfer it into this new environment. Okay, so it is important to look at what are your strengths so that you are able to transfer them to this new environment. You have transferable skills. You also have your life experiences. You have past success experiences, okay? You have your goals, you have your motivation, or you have your life mottos in terms of my journey to success continues, or I have my eyes on the prize. You have your values, you have your role models, you have work experience, and also there is support that is there. An example, if you are someone who is dedicated or determined, transfer that dedication from your work, or transfer that dedication from your role in the family, and learn to transfer it into this new role of you being a student in the university. It becomes so important to also look at what are your priorities, okay? In terms of, it is important to understand how the university works. And sometimes you don't get it immediately that you understand it, but there are a lot of videos or podcasts that are under student retention, that are under the UNISA websites. Let's make use of those so that we prepare. The more we are prepared, the more it reduces our anxiety or our stress levels. Know what is expected of you. Remember, this is a new role. What is expected of you? Understand that. You've heard George and Kanyisa and Simlindile talking about some sacrifices that need to be made. And these sacrifices are also linked in terms of what are the expectations that are needed from you. My colleagues have spoken in a lot in terms of support services. And I think what they were echoing is that you are not alone, right? And in you not being alone, it means take that step, seek help. Né? They have spoken about my UNISA. They have spoken about library. I also want to talk about Accolade. There's Accolade in terms of reading and writing. you know, that sometimes it's difficult to read the content with understanding, but they can teach you how to read with understanding, how to paraphrase and so forth, okay? And also it is important to look at what do I need to do differently to adjust to this environment. So it can be some of the students are coming straight from matric, or it can be that there has been a gap in terms of the studies and where you are now, okay? But it is important to have a look in terms of, sorry, I got lost there. In terms of being more proactive, né? There has to be that sense of self-responsibility, okay? And also being more independent as well. Remember, the second semester is also short, so the earlier we get started with these strategies, then the better it is for us, okay? Some of you may have already written the first semester examinations. And at times we write examinations, but we don't reflect. And so here I have some questions that would be important to help you to reflect. When you are reflecting, you are going to be able to understand what was the experience, okay? How are you feeling in the experience? What did you learn from the experience? And also what needs to be done differently so that you can have an action plan for your second semester. Okay, so those are some of the reflection questions that you need to bear in mind, okay? The colleagues have mentioned about the tips to navigate in terms of your journey to success. And one thing I've picked up, they've spoken about the seeing a bigger picture. Yeah? And you've heard that there are students who've studied from higher certificate to PhD, so this is possible. But it is important for you to know what is your bigger picture, what is your purpose in terms of studying. And we really want to encourage you to write a letter to yourself. In that letter, dear Nolwazi, I am studying because of X, Y, and Z. When I am studying, it will help me grow in this and this. In this letter that you are writing, also think about how does being in an open distance e-learning institution prepare you for the world of work where technology is a must, okay? When you are reflecting here, also it is important in this reflection, integrate some of these learnings that you have gained from George, from Kanyisa, and from Simlindile. So it is important, know your purpose. 2, know your career. Very often students choose a career or a course, but they don't know much about it. There are lots of support that we provide in terms of career information. When you know the career, you are motivated. So when you are demotivated, let's get some career information and get support there, okay? Another thing that is important is that you prioritize your goals. You direct those energies and your resources to your vision. I'm jumping here. It's very important. One of the things that we pick up in counseling is that students come at a time when they've already failed. Yeah? But in that, it can be that there have been a number of red flags, but all these red flags, you are not taking note of them. So one of the things I'm saying is that monitor yourself, okay? Make it a point that you, for each of your modules, you are monitoring yourself to be able to react to red flags as soon as possible. If you are struggling with study skills, seek help immediately. If you notice your attitude towards a module is negative, seek that help. Don't wait for things to get worse. It lowers your self-esteem and your confidence, and it can make you doubt your potential. Also communicate. We've said that. Surround yourself with people that are positive and inspiring. Another key factor is that we are constantly talking to ourselves. As a child, I always used to wonder, why is my granny talking to herself? And she was young at that time. But this is where I understood that we are constantly talking to ourselves. And we need to be mindful of what you are saying to yourself. If you are saying to yourself, I can't do this, already you are having, it's going to affect your feelings. It's going to affect your behavior. If you look at this slide and you look, I'm only going to do the first one. He is saying, I won't do it. Remember, the word won't is already locking you in terms of being in a trap that you can't get out. I won't do it. You see, he's feeling, he's demotivated, he's grumpy, and he's sitting, he is not doing anything. Then he moves, I can't do it. Okay, still, he is still sitting. But when he says, I want to do it, there is an immediate shift here. This guy is no longer sitting, he's standing firm, all right, that he wants to do something. Then he starts to ask how, and then through the how, you are brainstorming, you are looking at what strategies can you start doing, okay? Another thing that we tend to do is that we like to, when there is a new task, when there is a difficult task, we tend to rush to saying, I can't do this. I can't be bothered with this, okay? Why is this module added to my curriculum, okay? We call this rushing into an I can't. And when you are doing this, it really puts you in a situation where now your attitude changes, okay? And it's more negative. But with a little bit of effort, you may find yourself being surprised in terms of you enjoying this task, okay? We've spoken about Telegram or your module groups for support, and also the benefits of the support, because you gain different insights from there. I think one of the things we like to say is that I am not good at this. So instead of you saying, I'm not good at this, say, I am not good at this yet. I finish my sentence with yet. When I am adding yet, it's suggesting that I'm willing to learn. It's suggesting I'm going to put some work in it. I'm going to try it, okay? So this word yet, it is going to make a big impact in terms of your studies. We've spoken about communicate, ask for help. You know, generally, there is a lot of stigma in terms of you asking for help. But asking for help is a sign of bravery. You know, you have to communicate. In isiXhosa ndingumXhosa. In isiXhosa, you learn that usana olungakhaliyo lufele embelekweni. If you don't cry out, you're going to die in the womb. So it is important that communicate, okay? There are many benefits for you in terms of you communicating. You get clarity, new learning, you generate ideas and so forth. And be motivated by the success of others. Very often when others are successful, there is jealousy. Don't be jealous, right? Ask yourself or ask them, how did you do it? Learn from them, be encouraged by them. I'm jumping counseling services. It's free, it's confidential. We are looking at career counseling and information, study skills, or study counseling and adjusting to the university. Remember, as you're studying, life is also happening, right? And we are looking at personal issues affecting your studies and performance, employment preparation, and personal development. And we make referrals as is appropriate. I just want to move you to the you can book your sessions online. The service is face-to-face, and also it is online as well. What I want to leave you with, it is this counseling website. In this counseling website, it is 24 hours. There is self-help information there, okay? So you will find career information. If you're doing IT, there's a booklet there waiting for you on IT. If you are looking in terms of study skills, there's already information that is there in this counseling website. There are sections there for downloads. And if you see, someone spoke about procrastination. There is already in that counseling website information in terms of tips to deal with procrastination. So let's make use of this. You have heard that a number of the colleagues, they are former student mentors. For me, these are students that are gifting you as current students. They are sharing their experiences. These student mentors, In Xhosa, we say, Inyathi ibuzwa kwabaphambili. We learn from those that are ahead. And that's why we are here in this session today, that we are learning from George. We are learning from Kanyisa. And so these student mentors, they are final year students. These students that we are training in counseling, they've got an average of about 70 plus. So you can be able to seek the support. They help you in terms of mentoring you to adjust to the university. They share their strategies in terms of how you can make it to be like them, okay? These are the counseling websites and the information. There is counseling services in all the regions that you can make contact with. You need to just check where is your nearest office. You can email them, you could phone or visit the office as well, okay? So those are some of the things that are critical. If you're struggling with motivation or being demotivated, please make use of the services. Even if you are not having challenges, come to us so that you have like a sounding board. Maybe you want to reflect on that journey and what's working. We are still there being available for you. The service is free, it's confidential as well. Thank you so much, Ntokozo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Laz. Wow, that was a lot to take in and to learn from. Maybe I can just, yes, George, thank you so much. You need to clap for that. Thank you so much. I think also from what I'm getting is that, you know, it's not so much focusing on being a student per se, but I've also made a lot and I've gotten a lot of advice on how to navigate just in life in general, which is maybe we talk about time management. It's not, you know, only about time management with reference to your studies, but just life in general. And also most importantly, because we are doing a lot of things in life. That is what I'm getting. But I cannot put a dent in the presentation, so I cannot add any more because I've learned a lot, and this is it's very encouraging. I think it's also encouraging for our students as well. If maybe I could go through some of the questions that our students have. There's one that I saw specifically asking, for George. I think it's Edwin. Edwin is asking, so now we're just going to jump into a question and answer before our time runs out, of which we are over. Sorry, students and colleagues, that we are over by 4 minutes. We'll try to be quick. But there's one question that is asking George, which year of your LLB would you say was the most challenging? You have a question from Edwin, and then we have another question that asks if it's okay. I think talking about library services, and thank you, David, for providing that information. And then we have a lot of people talking about motivation, procrastination, and how do you actually work around that as a student. And then the people are sharing their own experiences affecting their environment. And then there are people who are talking about load shedding, of which everyone is experiencing, the whole country. We're sorry about that. We're really, really sorry about that. But then you can access some of the our information in our website. And okay, maybe George, you can answer the question on which year did you find challenging. Maybe you can take that question. Thanks, George.
Thank you, Ntokozo. That's actually a very tricky question because all the 4 years have got their own challenges.
Yeah.
They've got their own challenges. But looking back, I can maybe say the first year was the most challenging. You know, the transition to distance education and trying now to become part of it in practice. Getting, you know, this bunch of books at home, and now you look around, hey, I'm alone. Who do I ask? You read 4 pages and you've got a question. Who do you ask? You know, so to me that was the first challenge, trying to figure out how we don't call it distance. Now the ODEL system works.
Yes.
Trying to communicate with lecturers and actually since you asked me which year was most challenging, maybe I can also offer you how to overcome those challenges as well. I'll go overboard. Communicate with lecturers. I found that very helpful with when you're studying law. It is and I would say it works with all studies. It's important, send emails. If there's a phone number provided and you are able to phone them. You find that our lecturers are very, very helpful. And if in your region there is face-to-face communication, sign up for it. If there's face-to-face tutoring, sign up for it at the regional center and attend. Make use of online tutors. Communicate, and you find that you actually have a smoother journey, and the year won't be that challenging. Telegram, there's a huge potential there on Telegram when you communicate with other students. So
thank you so much, George. And then there's someone asking about industrial psychology. Any advice for people studying industrial psychology? I don't know if Ms. Nolwazi or Kanyisa, you could maybe touch on that. I'm not sure what advice you're looking for, Reddy, I think, but maybe just an overall on what. I don't know if you could take a few other questions as well. Someone is asking, where do you obtain information about your chosen career? I think, Ms. Nolwazi, if you can just project that slide again. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. One can be able to send an email or also make contact. Remember, I said that the counseling services, they're available in individual and group. Ne?
Okay.
I think, or you could also make it that you have a session with the counselor to go through more about your particular career.
Okay.
Then you can be able to better understand it. I think an individual session could be better, but there is also the counseling website that has the career information.
Okay.
I'm going to put up that link where you can be able to download the information and then go through it. There are also, I remember there was a session that was held in this year talking about the fields of psychology, but in the counseling website, it has different career booklets on IT. If you're doing education, there's a booklet. HR, they've got information there. If you are not finding the one relevant for you, make contact with the counseling office so that you can get that support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Oh, before you go, Ms. Nolwazi, there's also someone who spoke about, can you get counseling that has nothing to do with your studies? I just want to find that question, maybe on personal issues.
Yes.
Can you get counseling? Okay, so
yes,
that's
this is why I was saying that as you are studying, life is also happening.
Yes, that's true.
And there are many things that can happen in life. We are here to provide that personal counseling in terms of supporting you. So it's important that when you identify that you are struggling, you are battling, seek the support. It is confidential, it is private, and it is a free service that you can access to support you in your studies. Thank you. I'm going to put that link now.
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe for 2 minutes, someone who would like to maybe ask a question that is not, you can just unmute your mic or raise a hand. Raise a hand, and then maybe you can just ask one question. Before load shedding hits every one of us, now George is saying there's load shedding, colleagues. Does someone want to ask before we also get load shedded? Or maybe we can just close the session because we are over time already. Yes, Baseleng, yes, you did join late. However, we do have a recording. We're going to post it on YouTube, and we're also going to send you via email to all first-year students. Thank you so much, Edwin. Thank you, everyone, for joining. But maybe if I can just have concluding remarks. First of all, I'd like to thank our guest, Ms. Nolwazi Kanyisa, George Simlindile, Miss Sophie, shout out to you, our sign language interpreter. And thank you so much. And the background, David, and a shout out to you, Nas, Miss Nas Dawood. Thank you so much. I can see that you were responding as well as David to some of our questions, some of our student questions. Those are my colleagues, everyone. So as a student retention youth, I just want to project quickly where you can also find us. Drop us an email, and then if you have questions, we're going to direct you to the relevant support structure. This is us. Okay, so this is our email address. Drop us an email, and then we can respond. Some of the issues are technical, so that's like the system failure, that's not on us. However, we'll direct you to the relevant department. So to have the closing remarks, I just want to say thank you so much to you, my guests, my colleagues who are in the chat box answering the questions, and then also just to say, students, well, in summary, you got this. You know, whatever challenge and environment that you're coming from, we just hope that you have been motivated by my guests today to say whatever challenge and environment you can overcome, and you have to find yourself and build a foundation where UNISA will meet you. In my suggestion or advice is that UNISA is going to meet you halfway. You have to stay focused with reference to what you want to achieve. UNISA is going to meet you halfway to provide counseling, to provide support structures where you are able to pass your modules, but you have to find motivation, to be self-disciplined, to be able to tap into those structures where you are able to pass all your modules and eventually your degree or diploma, whatever certificates, and move on to all the other degrees that you want to achieve, and as a person in general of what you want to achieve. And then with that being said, before we are hit by load shedding, thank you so much. And we just hope that this live broadcast have motivated you to go on whatever challenge that you're going through. Either you are studying, or you're a parent, you're studying, you're running a household and you're studying, you know, whatever that studies life that in life that you are doing at the same time, and you are studying. We just hope that you've been motivated with all the achievements and all the ways of achievements from our guests and all the ways that Ms. Nulazi has provided. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you, students. Have a lovely day further.